So I'm in Topaz Gigapixel as usual, and I'm having a look at this image here. Now this is a before and after at the moment. I've not adjusted any of the settings, so we'll be doing that in a second. And this is an AI generated image, so it's not a real photograph, as maybe kind of obvious to probably a lot of you. But that brings its own set of challenges. Even though it's quite good quality, we do have some things to bear in mind. Now up to the upscale value here, I'm not choosing a typical upscale parameter here, so 1, 2, 4, etc. What I'm doing is making use of the dimensions option to type in a specific size. So I've typed in 3000 pixels into height. So that's going to keep the same aspect ratio, but resize it to 3000 pixels on the height, which is the longest edge for this image because it's a portrait image. So that gives it a scale factor of 2.37. So there we go. And of course, I forgot to mention on some of the videos, you can click and drag this quick view at the top right, and it will allow you to sort of navigate around the image accordingly. So that's pretty handy. So now I've got the dimensions set. What I need to do here is really consider what is the best model for this particular output, because it's the skin texture's not incredible from flux on this image anyway, and we want to do everything we can to preserve it. So on that basis, I'm going to go to the A/B comparison mode, and it will be a shootout between standard and high fidelity on this one. That's for sure. So again, it's going to update the preview, so that instead of a before and after, it's now going to have standard model on the left and high fidelity model on the right. And this is where we can sort of look around, and I'm not going to change any of the sharpening etc settings in this view. I'm going to make a judgment with all those turned off as for like a base level. Now again, very subtle differences on this particular image, and you probably won't see any at all because the YouTube compression algorithm kind of robs videos of their fine detail. But I am definitely, in this case, I'm seeing some more very fine detail on the high fidelity version on the right hand side, but I'm also getting a sense of some less natural looking skin texture as well on this side. So it's giving me a little bit more, but what it is giving me looks a little bit more artificial, maybe. It's quite a close call, and ideally we would have had an image to start off with that had more skin texture in it. But we are where we are, and I think I'm going to go with standard V2 on this particular one. So I'm going to click apply model, and it'll update. I'm just going to go back to a full screen image now. So when you're on the full screen preview, every time you click and you hold your mouse, it gives you the before image unprocessed, unaffected by the upscale or by the software. Then you let go and it's going to update that. So let's go down to the settings down here. Sharpen. Now, one thing to bear in mind when you're using the sharpen is look at the sharpest point of your image so far. So like in her case, it's the lips. I think the lips are a good point. They're very sharp focus, nice highlights there. And the closest eye is also in really good focus, and obviously the nose. So we need to sort of say, out of those areas, do we feel like any of those need to be sharper? And my answer is no. I don't want these lips to go any sharper, or the eyelashes, because they'll start to go crispy. And any more sharpening we want to do to any other areas would have to be done as a separate pass in a photo editing software, because I don't want to over sharpen the rest of the image for the sake of, over sharpen things like the lips and the eyes for the sake of trying to bring up the sharpness elsewhere. Denoise with this kind of image, I really love there's a tiny bit of grain on the original. Now hold on my button, and it has been lost in the upscaling process, which is kind of what happens, unfortunately. There doesn't seem to be a mode that completely retains all of the grain, even with the denoise at the lower setting. But so I'm definitely not going to increase the denoise. And to fix compression, I don't think that's necessary. So this one, what I would do is I would take this out now, I would save it, and I would do definitely add some noise in a photo P or whatever, and maybe just do a little bit of cloning to fix the teeth and a couple of other little areas that have not fared so well in the upscale. But apart from that, I don't think there's a huge amount much more you can do unless you dive into the generative model functions, which I'm not going to do in this video, but pretty straightforward one. But thanks for watching.